Welcome to my channel. This is a story about a man who moved into an apartment. In the living room was an old framed photo of a family of 5. There was a husband and wife and their 3 children. The photo was taken in 1972. It was yellowed with age and the glass was dusty. But what made the picture strange was that every single person in it was smiling, the kind of smiles that reached their eyes. And the man who had moved in could unhelp but smile back at them every time he walked past it, which was often because his bedroom was right next door. He would look at the photo and imagine what life was like for this family 47 years ago. What were they doing? Where did they go after this photo was taken? Were they still together? Did they have a happy ending? And he wondered what had happened to them, if they were still alive, and where they were now. One day, when he was out, he noticed 2 kids playing hopscotch. It must have been around 8 or 9. They were laughing and playing, and one of them said, "I'm going to get you," and he started chasing her. And the man stopped in his tracks. He felt a pang in his chest. It was such a beautiful, carefree moment that it took him back to when he was a kid. His dad used to take him and his brother to the park on Saturdays and teach them how to ride their bikes without training wheels. How long had it been since he felt that free, that full of joy? He shook his head, realizing it must have been decades. He continued walking, and he saw a group of friends having a barbecue in a nearby park. They were eating, drinking, laughing, playing music, and it made him think of his own friends. He hadn't seen them in a long time. Some of them had passed away, others he had lost touch with. And he wondered, did they ever think of him? Did they remember the good times they had shared? He looked up at the sky. It was getting dark. He was tired. He walked slowly, not wanting the day to end. As he turned the corner onto his street, he saw a familiar figure sitting on a bench in front of his building. A woman in her late 60s with white hair and kind eyes. He knew she lived in the apartment above him, but he had never spoken to her. She was always nice, though. She would always smile and wave whenever he passed by. And then he noticed something odd. In her hands, she was holding a photo. It was the same photo that hung on his wall, the one with the family of 5. But there was one big difference. This time, the woman had circled one of the children with a red marker. And when he got closer, he saw that she had also written something in the margin. "My John," she said, her voice trembling. "Do you know who that is?" "That's my son. That's Johnny. Look how happy he was. He loved the camera." She pointed at the boy she had circled. "It was me who took this picture. I was so proud of my little ones. We were so happy back then. I wish I could go back just for one more day. Just to tell them how much I love them, to hold them close." Her eyes were filled with tears. "I lost my husband 15 years ago. Then my daughter passed away 3 years after that. And now I fear it's only a matter of time before Johnny leaves us too. I'll be left alone. No one will want to talk to me. No one will visit. They'll forget all about me." She looked up at him, her eyes pleading. "You don't understand. Please, please don't forget me." The man felt a lump in his throat. It was the saddest thing he had ever heard. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Then he knelt down next to her. "Don't worry," he said, placing a hand on hers. "I promise I won't forget you." As the days went by, the woman kept coming up with new stories about the people in the picture. She told him about her son's first steps, his first day at school, his first girlfriend. She showed him pictures on her phone, pictures of a handsome young man graduating from college, traveling the world, getting married, having children of his own. Then one day the woman didn't show up. The man was worried. Had something happened to her? He knocked on her door, but no one answered, so he let himself in. The apartment was empty. All of her stuff was gone. He walked over to the wall and looked at the picture hanging there. It was the first time in weeks that he had looked at it, and now it seemed different. The colors were faded. The smiles seemed forced, and the longer he stared at it, the more he thought it was staring back at him, mocking him, daring him. On the 6th day, he woke up early and went for a walk. He needed some air. As he turned the corner onto his street, he saw the woman sitting on the same bench. She was holding the same photo. But again, there was one big difference. This time she had circled herself. "I'm here," she said. "I'm here, aren't I?" And then she was gone. The man stood there for a moment, the picture in his hands, the woman's words echoing in his ears. I'm here, aren't I?" He looked at the picture and smiled. "Yes," he said, you are. you are here. You gotta hear this one. Every morning, she passes the hallway mirror on the way to work. At first, everything is normal. She glances at the mirror and sees her own reflection, looking back at her, smiling politely. But one day, her reflection is a second slower than she is. She doesn't think much of it. Maybe she was just tired. So the next day, when she sees that her reflection is a little slower again, she thinks, okay, maybe I am a little slow today. But then a week later, her reflection stays smiling a little too long after she's already turned away. And that's when she starts to get scared. So the next morning, she walks past the mirror, and the mirror is empty. She stops dead in her tracks and turns slowly to look back at the mirror, and there she is, waving at her. What the hell? She runs to the mirror and splashes water on her face, trying to get a better look. But when she looks up, all she sees is an endless hallway and a single mirror at the end of it. A mirror that shows a reflection that is no longer her own. She tries to run down the hall, but there's no end to it. She runs faster, her breathing getting heavier and heavier, until finally the mirror comes into view. She's so excited to see her reflection again, to see if whatever was in there was still there. But when she gets close enough to see, she realizes with a jolt that it isn't. There's no one in the mirror at all, only her own reflection. And her reflection is smiling politely. Oh, thank God, she thinks. I'm finally sane again. But then her reflection begins to turn its head to look at her, and it has a slow, cruel smile on its face. And then it waves. She screams and runs away from the mirror. She doesn't dare look back. She doesn't want to know what was in that mirror, what was smiling at her. She hides in a supply closet, tears streaming down her face, wishing that whatever had been in that mirror would just go away and leave her alone. But when she calms down and peeks out from behind the door, she sees that the hallway is gone. She's not in the supply closet anymore. She's outside. She walks out onto a busy street and sees tall buildings around her, buildings that aren't hers. She doesn't know where she is or how she got there. All she knows is that she doesn't want to go back inside. She spends the night wandering around the city, too afraid to go home. She sleeps on a park bench, hugging her knees to her chest, watching the other people sleeping around her. She doesn't want to touch anyone else. She's afraid that whatever was in that mirror is now in her. In the morning, she wakes up and decides to go home. But when she gets to her apartment building and opens the door, she sees that the hallway is gone. She's back in that same hallway again, staring at that same mirror, and her reflection is smiling politely. But when she looks closer, she sees that her reflection is a second slower than she is. Okay, I've got 2 more for you. You like the scary ones? You want to hear the scary ones? Okay, here you go. You ever heard of the monkey's paw? Well, if you haven't, I'll tell you about it. Once upon a time, there were a man and his wife who had a son. They were poor, but they were happy. But then their son died, and that made them very, very sad. So the man went to see a wizard and asked him to bring his son back to life. The wizard told him that he had a wish, granting Monkey Paw, that could do that, but warned him that every wish has a consequence. The man didn't care. He wanted his son back, so he took the monkey's paw and wished for his son to come back to life. And then the man and his wife were very happy. They thought that their wish had come true, that their son was alive again. But then the son came into the house and said, "I'm so glad to be back. I can feel my bones breaking and reforming. I can feel my skin being pulled tight over my new body. I can feel my eyes popping open for the first time. I can feel the blood pumping through my veins." Then he smiled at his parents and said, "I'm so glad to be back. Dad, Mom, it's so good to see you again." So the man and his wife knew that something was wrong, that their son wasn't the same anymore. They tried to talk to him, but he didn't respond. He just kept smiling and walking away. Then they saw that he was covered in blood. Well, if you don't want to hear that one, then maybe you'd like the next one. 2 men were hiking in the woods when they came across a clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a small cottage. They walked up to the cottage and knocked on the door. An old woman opened the door and invited them in. She offered them food and drink, and they stayed there for a while. Then one of the hikers noticed a painting on the wall. It was a painting of the old woman. He asked her, "How old are you?" The old woman looked at the painting and said, "I'm as old as that tree." The hiker looked out the window and saw a large oak tree. He estimated that the tree was probably about 100 years old. But then the old woman said, "Actually, I'm older than that tree. The hiker was confused. He said, "How can you be older than a tree?" The old woman leaned closer to him and whispered, "I used to be a tree." You've got to see this. There's this room across the street from my apartment, and I've always been curious about it. Every day when I come home from work, the window is always open and the lights are always on. And inside, there's always this woman sitting at the desk reading. It's always the same time, around 6:15 p.m. She'd sit there reading until around 8 p.m. Then the lights would go out, and I'd never see her again until the next day. At first, I thought maybe she was just really into reading or something. You know, some people have hobbies. And one day I noticed something weird. I saw her looking directly at me. I couldn't believe it. I thought, how long has she been staring at me? And then I realized, no wonder she was always in that room. She was watching me, so I tried to be more observant. I wanted to figure out who she was and why she was watching me. But every day it was the same thing. Work, come home, she's staring at me from across the street. I even started wondering if she was crazy or something. Then one day I caught her doing something else. I came home and I saw her in the exact same spot, but she wasn't reading. Instead, she was staring at me and then she waved. I couldn't believe it. I waved back, obviously. And then she went back to whatever she was doing before. I don't know how to explain what happened next. It's almost like she knew I was watching her because the next day I came home and the blinds were closed. Now, this was weird because every other day they were open. So I peeked through the blinds, and I saw her sitting at the desk with a book, just like always. But now she had the blinds closed. This went on for a few days, and every time I peeked through the blinds, she was always there, sitting in the same spot, reading. Then one night the light went out, just like always. But the next morning I woke up early, and I looked out the window, and I saw that the room was empty. Her chair was the only thing that was there. And then I noticed something else. Her chair was in front of my window, blocking it. And this was weird because every other day, her chair was behind the desk, not in front of the window. And as I watched, the sun hit the desk and the chair perfectly. It was like she had moved her chair so the sunlight would hit her desk. I don't know what it is about this, but it's just giving me the creeps. This was several years ago, but to this day, I still wonder what that room is. And who was that woman? Hey, thanks for watching. Are you observant or do you have a good eye for detail? Well, let me know by playing this game. How many changes did you catch? Comment the timestamps, and if you spotted them all, you're officially more observant than 99% of viewers. Here's how it works. I made a total of 12 changes in this video. They're all visual, and they're all in plain sight. Your job is to find as many as you can. Some are more obvious than others. The longer the timestamp, the harder it is. Comment down below how many you found and if you got any of them wrong. Won't tell you which ones you missed, but feel free to pause the video and look for them all. Since this is a short video, the difficulty is higher, so good luck.